Hello, Sharon, and welcome
Oh,
to this week's podcast.
Here we are back.
Yeah, episode 10. And our topic is our philosophy number 8. Love is the most powerful healing force there is. What an awesome little discussion point today.
I know. And another one of Louise's favourite sayings is love is limitless.
Yeah. Yep. And it's out there everywhere, isn't it? You know, we know that love heals all wounds. It's, you know.
Love is just, it's like the best. It's the duck's guts, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's the duck's guts of life.
Oh, and where would we be without it?
I know. Where would we be?
Yeah, well, none of us would be here because it takes love for us to co-create.
That's exactly right.
Procreate.
Well, it doesn't really. I mean,
well, that's true.
Create without love. but
there has to be an element there that, you know, that love energy's got to come out somewhere.
Exactly. Well, even if it doesn't come out between the couple, it in most cases comes out between a parent and a child.
Exactly. And, you know, we could go through all of Louise's books about what this is all about, you know, but if we just keep it real, it is the most powerful healing force there is. And if we go back to, I know that you and I have been privy to conversations of recent times, how powerful something like the Ho'oponopono prayer is, which is, you know, one of the things in there is like, I love you, you know, and it's, that to me is, you know, when you know the history behind that, there's like that cleaning.
Oh, I love that.
And love will help.
That old fellow that does the cleaning. He just is incredible, isn't he? I'm just cleaning.
Yeah, yeah. And for those that don't know about the Ho'oponopono prayer, it is actually a modality that I've trained in, and I don't know if have you done the training in it, Sharon?
I've started the training, and I've been a bit naughty. It's something I've started when COVID was on, and I actually haven't finished. But I'm due it. I started, and I can finish it at any time. Doing with Dr. Joe. So
yeah. So the Ho'oponopono prayer is the I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you know, ultimately you're changing the energy, really. And you're putting that love energy in. You're not owning any of the, you know, the ego is what gets offended anyway.
It does.
But, you know, quite consciously, and my yoga teacher was one of the things that had stuck with me there, harsh words that are ever held in the ear of the listener, which is so true, but they can be unconscious. But but we can remedy that just with love. Yes.
You
know, not to say that it shouldn't be said in the first place, but, you know, when people know that you're coming from a good space and that you are emanating love towards them, what they can take offense to or think are harsh words, not necessarily that. Sometimes, you know, being a parent's a pretty tough gig, and sometimes, you know, we have to, you know, do the guiding, and sometimes it can be taken in a resentful way.
Absolutely.
And there is no handbook for a parent. Like when you give birth, you don't sort of walk out of the hospital with the parent, you know, this is the parenting handbook, this is the guidebook. I know there's people who have attempted to put one together, but at the end of the day, it's only their opinion and their perception. It's subjective. So, you know, but from a maternal side, there is no handbook. So it's
no.
You know,
It's and I've often said that I had all my family together on the weekend, and 2 girls. Most of you that, you know, follow me and know that I have 2 girls. And interestingly enough, I a number of times said to my girls, you know, we're a family of banter. You know, we banter each other all the time. And sometimes I can get a little bit offended because I'm a little bit, you know, it can be a little bit precious, and they can be a little bit precious. And even though it's a banter, we might take it too far. And my favourite thing is, well, you wait till you have your children, because they're going to pick you to pieces just like you're picking me. I said, and actually she's my eldest, and I say, you're already a mum of two, so look, I'll be standing there watching that.
Yeah.
But as we know, as Louise says, you've just got to be willing.
That's exactly right.
To actually take on board what they say. Like, I can be that mother that, that can just want to do everything and be seen as too controlling. But that's not where my heart comes from. My heart comes from love. It comes from, wanting to fix and make things better, which is just the love that's limitless, isn't it? And because I think probably I do that for me, is what I've been reflecting on the last few days. I do it for me because loving makes me feel better. It's a bit like an addictive drug, love.
Yeah, it is. It is. And isn't it funny, because if we go right back to the start of all of Louise's stuff is about learning to love yourself, and that is that mirror work. That is
yes
being able to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you love you. And when you start to, and I always think that the easiest way to get to a state of love is by gratitude. When we're grateful for something, there's something energetic that changes with our body, and the love energy just kind of oozes, and we appreciate things more, we serve better, and I mean serve better as in we serve from the heart with love.
Yes.
But it comes out in everything. There's a family home where there's love infused into the food. It has got a nourishing child, a nourished child. Like, there's so much around how we live with love, which ultimately demonstrates exactly that. Love is the most powerful healing force there is. So
I remember, Wendy, and I don't know if you felt the same. I remember when I had my firstborn, I was really scared when I first got pregnant, and thought to myself, how do I give another child this much love? I just couldn't get my head around that. I was like, how do people do that when they got, like, my mum had 5 of us? How do you love like that? And it was interesting when I was holding my second born in my arms, I was just like, wow, it's not even a question, it just happens. The love. And I know it doesn't happen for everybody, and I'm not, because I know people out there that struggle with the fact that they like, I don't love this child, what's wrong with me? Nothing. Give yourself a break and try and go with it. And you've probably had some trauma and stuff in your life as well, and you need to allow to go with that. But for me, it was like, wow, it just happened. I couldn't understand this magic that allowed me to spread myself in 2 places, and then love my husband on a different level again. Yeah,
there's all there. I mean, if you have a look at the level, the different ways that we love. We love our children in a different way than we love our husband, and in a different way than we love our parents, and a different way that we love our friends, in a different way that I love our siblings, in a totally different way that we love our pets. So it's my mum was one of 14 and one of 11. Dad was one of 14. So when you talk about Grandma Bid, who just emanated love, like she just everyone went there for Christmas, and she didn't do anything, but it just was something that
oozed from her.
It just flowed. So
which makes me ask
you,
you,
too high. You didn't try too hard.
What memories do you have from that? Like, if you're saying you went to your grandma's and it was just love, like putting that into a perspective of your inner child and the love that you received, it's miraculous.
Yeah, and going there, because then when you have a look at how many of us were there when Mum was one of 11. All the other grandkids were there, so we there was it was like a home that everyone went there. It was on a veranda, the table was all laid out, and there was
how magical is that?
So and that's the earliest childhood memories. I mean, she died in early 70s, so it was really a case. I didn't have a lot of time there, feel and like to experience all of that.
Yeah.
But it was there. And you know, everyone, you know, you mentioned about, you know, I don't really love that child. I think that's our conscious mind getting in the way. You know, we're bringing up all that other rubbish. But if everything was peeled back and it came down to you protecting that child, that's when true love is absolutely apparent, that you would do anything to protect that child.
Absolutely. And often it's because the mum is being so harsh on herself as well.
Yeah. Because
and every case is different, and we're not judging anyone, or we're not making comment on anyone about that sort of part about it, because everyone's on their own journey. We're just in general going into that concept of love is everywhere and with everybody.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, when we don't get to that point, it's like sometimes we're looking over the fence at how they are with their kids, and you know, I'm not like that with mine, and the comparison is the thief of joy and can absolutely destroy the self-confidence and
try not to judge myself at all with my children, because you know what, I just tried to do the best I could with what I had at the time, and it may have been wrong. I know at times it was wrong, but at that time I felt it was right.
Yeah, that's right. It's only when you reflect where you can you be self-analytical, really, and even that's not serving. But you know, sometimes we have to get to that level of understanding, and that's where, you know, where Louise in her book says, you know, you don't go into blame of your parents, you actually understand that they did the best that they could with what they knew how. And when you know better, you do better. And you know, every one of us is exactly in that space. So
I love how I've learned that, you know, like just even with my own mum, you know, I was quite harsh on my mum. And it was like I actually had perceived my mum to be this particular mum, you know, such and such's mum was like that, and such's mum was like that. Why couldn't my mum be like that? And it's only when I was doing all this work that I've learned to go, you know what, my mum, as you said, has done the best she can with what she had. And I now really, there's times I can be a bit harsh on her, but I think that's just a mother-daughter thing anyway. Shouldn't be, but it is. But I always bring myself back to, one, my girls, you know, be careful, your karma will come and get you. But no, more, it's like, you know, my mum's a pretty incredible woman. Yeah. And I take myself back down that journey on you know, if you're going to be mean to her, how would you feel if she wasn't here tomorrow? Because she's 85 and that could very easily happen. It could happen to any of us. But it's like, no, make the most of the time you have with her, which is what I really, really try and do these days.
Yeah. And, you know, I nursed my mum until the day she, you know, the night she died, she passed.
Yeah.
And I did it out of love. I spent my time with her, doing whatever I could to make her comfortable, to help with, you know, so that she had a beautiful transition, to spend that time with her. Her and I had a really close relationship, and as she did with each one of her kids, but it was a different relationship with each one of us.
Yeah.
You know, and so I never questioned her love for me. No. Never. No. Yes, it was harsh at times that she needed, and that's what I'm saying. Like, as a mum, we're never given a handbook, but there's times that we have, our role is to maybe help. I know it's our kids' journey, but we wouldn't be blessed with that soul, and they wouldn't have chosen us if we didn't have a part to play in helping them be the best version of themselves. Yeah, you know, and I think that there's too much with the hands off, but you know, at the end of the day, we don't want to shortcut their journey. We don't want to shortcut their learnings. We don't want to, and it's not for us to do that. But we can't have this, you know, you just run free, because that's not why, you know, that's not why you were blessed to have a child, you know. No. So I totally agree. And we have to make some hard decisions and have some courageous conversations and really help them to be the best that they can be. I'm
a helicopter mum. I'm a helicopter grandmum.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And I just love being a part of my girls' lives and their families.
yeah. Yeah.
To me, that's what it's all about.
I don't know. I'm a helicopter mum, but I like to be.
I'm always hovering.
Yeah. See, I mean, yes, I guess when they were younger.
Yeah. No, I
but I mean, these are like my kids are even decades older than yours, or a decade.
My eldest is 33.
Yeah, that's my youngest is 33.
Yeah. So your youngest is my eldest, and then I've got 6 years between them girls.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like it's a different. You evolve with your kids, so it's a different relationship now than what it was 10 years ago to what it was 20. So it's kind of like they want you in their lives, but
to observe, not to be a hovering helicopter.
Well, there's times where there is you feel that they probably would love you to make it right, or to change things, but that's not my role.
No. And
so
how nice
this is your experience, and I'm always here, and I will always be here.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. How beautiful that we've created through the love of our children. That's interesting. We've got on the children specifically, but the love that we've created for our families, regardless of what happens in your life, we're always still here, because that's unlimited love. That's endless love. That's a love basically with a hand continually out saying, okay, you don't need to put your hand in mine, but my hand's here for you whenever you want to.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a meme that went around a little while ago that said, was about the evolution of the child through, and the mother being the mum through to the older woman.
Yeah.
And hold her hand in those later years the same way that she held yours in those younger years.
Yes.
And it is like that. It is absolutely like that. And then I'm looking at going through a transition with my dog. And and I've always said that he is my dad reincarnated, and the unconditional love that he has bestowed on my life as something that now to serve and devote and absolutely love him in these times, the same way that I did with mum, the same as I did with dad, the same as I do with my kids, the same as I do with my husband. Like it's something that love can be shown in a variety of ways, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Love isn't just this thing that I just got to hug you. It is a hug when you need a hug. Yes, it is. It's being able to, feel that person, and love energy is something that you do feel.
It's listening. It's just being there. It's holding space. It's sending a parcel. It is limitless.
Yeah. It could be wiping a bum. It could be feeding them food. It could be administering, like I have a look, cutting up food for my elderly mum and helping her to eat. That was a demonstration of love, and there's making hard decisions for those loved ones, which is something that looks like I'm going to have to do this week. That is a decision based in love, because it comes from that space of I love you so much that if you love something, let it go, and if it comes back, and it is.
That's exactly right.
It comes in a love is not just this one thing, is what I'm trying to say.
And I guess one of the really important things to say is, apart from it's endless and timeless, it actually is, we're just having this experience. So when we finish on this earth plane and we pass over, our love doesn't stop. Our love is endless and timeless and just everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the most powerful healing force you'll ever experience. Love is that's why it hurts so much.
Yeah.
You know, like with your transition you're going through this week, as we discussed with your beautiful old dog, your big boy, you wouldn't feel this way, Wendy, if you didn't love him so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And what an incredible experience that he has given you to allow to have that much love in your life between you and him, and obviously him and the rest of the family, to have that wonderful love that you know that love's there because of the way you feel.
Yeah.
Like, that's an incredible joy to know that. That's the beautiful thing about pets, is in such a very short time they bring so much love.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, they have such a shorter life than us. Well, not all of us, but, you know, most of us. And they can just bring so much joy in that really short time.
Yeah. And, you know, then I have a look back, you know, how love can go, you know, be in many forms. Dad with dementia, he still knew how to love.
Yes.
He'd forgotten absolutely everything else, but he knew how to love.
He knew what love was. That's exactly right.
Yeah, he did.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
I know when my dad passed, you know, he was actually, we were in the room, just the family and I was mucking around with my sisters being stupid. My dad was literally unconscious and we were buggerizing around. We'd locked ourselves out of the hospice, and we were banging on the window trying to get someone to come and unlock us and let us in. And my dad literally woke up and went, "Oh, is that my youngest?" or something like that, he said. But he was referring to me making a lot of bloody noise. And it was just like, even in his last moments, he was still showering me with love. And it, you know, in any form, as you say, it's, as I keep saying, it's limitless. There is you can't put love in a box. You can't put love in a box.
No, you can't. Not at all. Not at all. And so, you know, when we're looking at, you know, if we were to pick out the book, you know, it's all the You Can Heal Your Life book. It is about the journey of love, really.
Yes, absolutely, totally.
But in all of that, it's about how love can make a difference in your life. It can make a difference in your life, and then from you making a difference in your own life, how that makes a difference in others. And one of the statements, and I think it's in this book, is the difference. Oh no, it's not. It's in another piece of sage advice that I got, is the difference between love and hate is understanding. Yes. And so, you know, when you take away the judgment and just go back to, and we were actually talking about this last night, I think, you know, this thing that we're in here, this journey of life is like one big play. And you've got to have some people that play the arsehole role. Like when we're at school and you're cast into the play and you're like, oh, I wanted Cinderella, or I didn't want, you know, or I wanted to be Snow White. I didn't want the big bad wolf. Well, there's someone who's been cast to be that big bad wolf in your life. And it's only when you start to look at this kind of work and you start then it marries into the forgiveness and the like your self-acceptance, your self-worth, and that love is all there is, really. And so we can heal relationships. We can, not just the relationship with ourselves, but we can heal relationships with loved ones. We can heal relationships, you know, even in our workspaces, purely by coming from that space within ourselves, that coming from that energy of love, and not the downside, the resentment and the anger and the shame and the guilt and all of those things. It's when we get to that space where we can know love ourselves, then we can be love for others.
Oh, totally. And by loving ourselves, we're actually allowing love in for everyone, regardless of who they are and what they've done.
Exactly.
which actually feeds back into the forgiveness stuff that we talked about last week.
Yep. And so, these philosophies build on each other, really.
Yes.
When we have a look, we are what what we put out, we get back. Is from the very first philosophy.
Absolutely.
And then changing that up to now being love is the most powerful healing force is when we get to that place of love, and it's been a journey there where we love ourselves, we accepted ourselves, we've worked out that we're worthy and deserving, and we approve of ourselves, and then we can release whatever shit has gone on before and forgive everyone who had a part to play because they were just acting in that part, that role that they had in the play.
Absolutely.
To be able to get to where we are now, and that is you go through the forgiveness part, and then you really do get to love. So
yep.
Yeah.
And it's all about lessons, isn't it? It's about, I say all the time now, there is no mistake. It's just a lesson.
Yeah.
And we can choose how we look at that, our old beliefs, our new beliefs, we can make choices. And if we can wrap that in love, and I know some people go, oh, you and all your fluffy rubbish. Love literally can change your life. It's like forgiveness. It's a part of forgiveness. I think would you say that, love and forgiveness nearly go hand in hand?
Yeah.
Because they create experiences in our life.
One of the greatest things that you can do is when you've got an issue with someone, on one side of the paper, you can write out exactly what that is. And you can use expletives. You can get all of the emotion behind exactly what it is of how you feel. Turn that piece of paper over and write why you like having them in your life, what you're grateful for, all the beautiful parts of that person, and see how inside of you the energy changes over to love energy, because you can see the good stuff that's inside people.
Yes, yeah, totally. And look, it's very interesting in the fact that one of the most important things I do when I'm working with my clients, and I may have, and mostly my clients when they first come to me can either be they've lost a loved one, or they're having a bad experience at work, or whatever they're doing. But the first thing I make them do is gratitude. I make them actually write a list of what is working in your life. Stop focusing, because even if we've got a pie and only a tenth of that pie is the shitty stuff in your life, your focus, because the way we're created, is to go to that shitty stuff. And then you forget about all that other amazing stuff that's happening in your life. Yep. And Neil Donald Walsh has an awesome story, and I'm just going to read this little poem out. It's a poem, whatever it is, I'm not sure what it is. There was a little soul who got very excited one day, and he ran off to God and he said, I know who I am. And God said, well, that's really nice. And the little soul, I am the light. That's really nice, you're the light. He thought for a second, he said, but I want to be the light. God said, you are the light. The little soul said, I'm not the light, but I want to be the light, and I want to experience all of this, and I want it. And just to cut that story short, it went on and on and on, where this little soul actually decided that he wanted to go down to earth and experience all of this amazing stuff. And I'm not a God person, but I'm using the word God today because for me, I'm okay with that as well. And so eventually, someone else, another little soul, come along and said, look, I'm going to go down to earth with you, and I'm going to do some really horrible things to you. And I'm actually just going to see how much you love, because that's really one of your experiences that you need to go and have as a human, is to really experience love. And so the little soul and this other little person went off, and this other soul did some really horrible stuff to the little soul, just to see where the awakening occurred. And eventually it all came to the end. And in the light, the little soul realized that it was a very, very, very light. And love was what the experience was all about. He wasn't really trying to hurt him. And I know I've messed this story up and I've really put it all over the shop, but hey, that's what we do. But the moral I'm trying to give you all is it doesn't matter what journey you're on or where you're going or where you've been or who you're with and what agreements you make. Ultimately, the outcome is to show you the love that's around you, and to allow you to experience all the love that's within you. Because that's what we also forget too. When you are the villain or someone else is the villain to you, it's actually letting us experience how we react. We can't control anything that happens around us, but we can control ourselves. And if we keep that love in our heart, we will certainly react very differently.
Respond.
Yeah.
Rather than react, we will. Love helps us take that pause and respond in a different way than if we were just a reactive being.
Yes. So, yeah. And that's often what actually, and that this is coming from someone that's used to be a firecracker. And hey, I can still let that firecracker out.
I think everyone's got a firecracker.
Crazy, mazy firecracker. But when I actually fall back into myself and bring myself back into my heart space, I do behave very differently. But if I don't let myself go back into my heart space, oh my God, the crazy one's out.
Yeah.
And that's ego-based. It's ego-filled.
Yeah. I still come back to the feelings that, like, how we, inside our bodies, how we feel when we're, when we're anxious, or when we're guilty, feeling guilt, or we're feeling shame, or we're feeling anger, or we're feeling resentment, and then we feel love. Like, inside of us, energetically, we feel differently. Like, we're different. And that means that every cell in our body is feeling that same thing. And so, it's, we're not able to have those seeds of resentment or anger or whatever within our body. It's just a trickle out, isn't it? It's like, it's our spiritual, it's our physical, it's our mental, our emotional. It's in every facet of life is how we reap the rewards of love.
Oh, totally agree with you. And being critical of ourselves or judgmental of ourselves or self-sabotaging is where we're not bringing love into our heart space.
Yeah. Yep.
Affirmations are a great way to help you bring that love into your heart space, by the way.
My oath, they are. And Louise has got so many good cards,
Oh, absolutely.
There's not just the affirmation cards, but her power thoughts cards have got a lot to do in there about love. And they're just consistent daily reminders, and this is what it's all about. It's we've got to get into habit stacking. And so much of where we get out of kilter in our lives is because we have forgotten to do the daily things every day.
Yes.
And we've been surrounded by all the other narrative, the other stuff, and forgotten who we truly are. And Absolutely. So it's just a matter of choosing to incorporate some reminders into our lives every day, some nice things that keep us anchored into love and not into fear and not into anger or hurt or whatever. It allows us to be more of who we're meant to be.
Totally. And here's some of Louise's affirmations where she actually turns them from the negative into a positive. This is a really good one. I feel trapped. Love makes me feel free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a marriage like my parents had. I go beyond my parents' limitations. Oh, I can't do that. I'll get hurt. The more I love, the safer I am. Just simple little things, I give myself permission to experience infinite love. And she has some really good PowerPoints here in her book that I'm using which is the Love Yourself, Heal Your Life book, which is Wendy has one as well, which is a bit different, but we both got them on our training. And the PowerPoints about love in general, loving yourself, loving others, is we're each responsible for our experiences. Every thought we think is creating our future. Everyone is dealing with the damaging patterns and resentment, criticism, guilt, and self-hatred. So you're not alone. And she doesn't say that, but that's what that's saying. It's saying you're not alone. These are only thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. One of her very famous sayings. We need to release the past and forgive everyone, including ourselves. Self-approval and self-assistance in the now are the keys to positive change. And the last one is the point of power is always in the present moment.
And that's the most important one, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, there it is there. That's where the power is. I can't take back, and this is where a constant reminder, I can't take back any of the words that were being heard at the start of the podcast, at breakfast this morning, at, what I did on the weekend. Like, I can't take them back because they've already left me. But I can make things right now. I can change things in an instant, and that's purely by me being responsible and proactive, and making sure that I'm open to receiving. That is sometimes we can create that whole disintegration.
Yes.
Because we're not in the present moment, we're bringing forward all of that stuff, and then we could put a block up, and then we repel everything. When in actual fact, if we just remained in the powers in the present moment, let me just be love and allow all the abundance that is, whether it's prosperity or abundance in relationships, whatever it is, to flow to you, because you are receptive. You're in that receptive energy.
Totally, yeah. That's perfect. Beautiful. And it's just, it surrounds us. It really does surround us, doesn't it? Love is love. It's infinity. It's absolutely brilliant. You can't see it, but yet you feel it. You know it.
Yeah.
You know when you're not getting loved.
Yeah.
You know when you don't feel loved. And I have a bit of a joke, and Wendy and I have also said this ourselves. Sometimes when you experience something that's not working for you, it's a great reminder to know what is working for you.
Yeah. And it's a self-assessment, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Things are turning shitty there. How am I contributing? What am I contributing to that? Like,
what energy am I giving that?
Thoughts create our future. We are the captain of our own ship.
We absolutely are. We're in control of our joy and our peace and our anger and our fear, our anxiety. Our mind doesn't stop. So Trying to work through that, how to try and slow that down, how to stop it, how to focus on the positive and release the negative.
Exactly.
And loving yourself is like the best medication you can ever take, because when you love yourself, you'll learn that you deserve better than beating yourself up.
Can be the magic pill, can't it?
It can.
Everyone's after a magic pill. There's a magic pill.
There's a magic pill, love.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Exactly.
You don't even need a script for that one.
No, you don't. And you don't have to wait for it to be dispensed by somebody else.
No, you can dispense it when and if you're having a really crappy day, I also tell my clients to go and write create a gratitude journal. Where in it you can write, when you're having good days, you fill that book. Girl or boy, you just fill that book as much as you can. Put in everything that's great in your life. And then there's days that are feeling where you're not loving it so much, and you can't really, because I have had clients say to me, I can't even tell you what feels good in my life right now. Go back to your journal and have a look. The other day you were feeling great. Go and have a look at some of that stuff. and start to read it. And I want you to read 3 or 4 pages. And then I want you to record it into your phone. And then I want you to listen to it when you go to bed and see if that changes your mood.
One of the things I love that I've seen lately is the gratitude jar. So every day
Yes.
you write something in there, and then when you're having a shitty day, go and have a look. And,
Yes.
and at the
Just
end
pick
of the
anyone
year,
out randomly.
and at the end of the year, go back and read them all. Like
Yes.
finish your year on a high, and so you bring in
Yeah.
a perfect new year.
I actually have a gratitude jar in my journal that's online, so you can. It's an online jar, but the really, you don't need to use a jar. You can just use a coffee mug if that's all you've got.
Yeah,
get creative.
Exactly. Yeah, just a vessel. And it doesn't even have to be a pretty piece of paper. It can just be
scrap.
Just something that you've ripped off the bottom,
Yep.
written your note on there, and just thrown it in there.
Make it as creative or as uncreative as you like.
Yeah.
And then if someone's having a bad day, walk it over to them and say, pull. A bit like pulling a card, really. Pull a bit of gratitude.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And on that note, I have the most perfect treatment to finish up on today.
I love our treatments, Wendy. I love them. Thank you for sharing them every podcast. I just love that you do this.
And I send this one through to my clients because it is so special. It is, I really love this one in particular. Yep. And I think it's really very pertinent that it's come up now.
Beautiful.
In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole and complete. I live in harmony and balance with everyone I know. Deep at the center of my being, there is an infinite well of love. I now allow this love to flow to the surface. It fills my heart, my body, my mind, my consciousness, my very being, and radiates out from me in all directions and returns to me multiplied. The more love I use and give, the more I have to give. The supply is endless. The use of love makes me feel good. It is an expression of my inner joy. I love myself. Therefore, I take loving care of my body. I lovingly feed it nourishing foods and beverages. I lovingly groom it and dress it, and my body lovingly responds to me with vibrant health and energy. I love myself, therefore, I provide for myself a comfortable home, one that fills all my needs and is a pleasure to be in. I fill the rooms with the vibration of love, so that all who enter, myself included, will feel this love and be nourished by it. I love myself, therefore, I work at a job I truly enjoy doing, one that uses my creative talents and abilities, working with and for people I love and who love me, and earning a good income. I love myself, therefore, I behave and think in a loving way to all people, for I know that which I give out returns to me multiplied. I only attract loving people in my world, for they are a mirror of what I am. I love myself, therefore I forgive and totally release the past and all past experiences, and I am free. I love myself, therefore I live totally in the now, experiencing each moment as good and knowing that my future is bright and joyous and secure. For I am a beloved child of the universe, and the universe lovingly takes care of me now and forevermore. All is well in my world.
All is well in my world.
On that note,
that was beautiful. Thank
you. It is my most favourite treatment.
So, it is beautiful.
Yeah. So don't forget to like and subscribe on our podcast and
follow us.
Yes, on our socials.
Yep.
And check Sharon out at intuitivesouls.com.au and check me out at wendyparker.com.au or wendyparker.au. It's really exciting times that we're in, and I'm so pleased that you're here joining with us in listening to our take on the world. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Wendy.
And till the next week, see you later.
And be sure to watch for our podcasts, which drop in every Wednesday evening.
Bye.
Bye.